Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of the Million Pound Mission Podcast. It's your buddy Adam, the PhD, the previously heavy dude, and this is episode number 353. We're talking about what I'm currently doing for nutrition, fitness, and supplements. I thought this might be an interesting topic. I get a lot of questions about what I'm doing, so we're going to lay it all out there piece by piece here today. Quick touch base with you guys as our Mission Possible community. We are in week 1. That means we just started a brand new 28-day cycle with our community. This is Accountability Sprint Week inside of our Facebook group, so dive in there. We are forming accountability buddies for those of you that need a little bit of extra accountability with those accountability anchor points. We have group chats going on over the next several weeks. So the calendar starts fresh. Fill out those battle plan workbooks. All of these great resources are free. They're all at millionpoundmission.com, top of the page, and just get signed up for that Mission Possible community. And a big part of the community is just helping people figure out their game plan for things like their nutrition, their fitness, and their supplements. And that's why I felt like this would be an interesting topic to cover. And just to kind of put some disclaimers out there, just because I'm doing something doesn't mean you should be doing something. This show isn't about like, hey, here's what I do, and you should all follow in step. I'm more about learning, bringing, hopefully, as you've realized, a lot of different types of people with different expertise onto the show, and we can kind of like what Bruce Lee says, absorb what is useful and then move forward and build momentum from there. So just take that with a grain of salt. As I break this down, I don't want you to feel like, oh, this is what he's doing. He's done, he's lost 100 pounds or looks a certain way or whatever. So that means I should automatically do it. Not necessarily. All right. A lot of things, as always, I kind of experiment with. I've got a very experimental, low pressure mindset when it comes to things like nutrition, fitness, and supplementation. And I kind of sift and sort, and I find things that work really well for me. And me being a darn near 40-year-old person, and when this comes out, I'll be 1 month out from turning 40. Oh my gosh. So I'm a little bit beat up from my lifting career as a power lifter and a Highland Games athlete. So I've got some joint issues that I've dealt with. And I'm a dad, I'm a busy entrepreneur. So I've got to make all this stuff fit that for me. And if you're coming from a totally different perspective, then there are some definite adjustments that you'll have to make. That being said, one of my favorite strategies when I listen to podcasts or if I see people speak, if I attend an event, I have something that I call my idea bank. And that is the place where I just brain dump things that I'm interested in learning more about, possibly things I'm interested in applying later, books I want to check out, people I want to follow on social media. I take notes and I dump it into that, and I review it every Thursday. And it's kind of like plucking the ripe fruit off of a tree, where I'm like, ooh, that idea. I've got hundreds of things in this idea bank, and once I pluck something out and apply it, I delete it, and it goes somewhere else. But take that sort of a mindset when you hear me talk about everything that I'm doing in this episode, because some of it may be applicable to now, some of it may not, and don't get that fear of missing out. Like, if I don't do this exact same technique that Adam's using right now, then I'll forget it. And, you guys know that I'm not a big fan of changing a whole lot of things all at once. Very minute variable shifts seem to be a common trait of people that do really well with the weight loss game, especially. So keep that in mind. Maybe form some sort of an idea bank that you can review once per week and just pluck out those ideas when they're ripe and ready for action. Okay, Million Pound Mission listeners, let's dive in here. I thought I would start off with currently what I'm doing with nutrition. Since October of 2019, I've been following a keto carnivore approach. I've been doing keto for basically 2 years leading up to that. And I started adding more carnivore stuff. We did some meat and bricks there. But the last several months, I've really skewed towards the carnivore side of things. I did Danny Vega's keto carnivore cut. That was strict carnivore. But now I add in a little bit of keto bricks back in. And that is something that is kind of the staple of my diet. A lot of meat, a lot of bricks. What I've been using, I set a goal from April until the beginning of mid-June. I did a cut program that Danny Vega helped design where we did a calorie wave, and my body weight went from 231 pounds down to 220 pounds over about 10 weeks. My calories went from about almost 4,000 per day down to about 2,400 calories per day. And I did that by dropping 50 to 75 calories per day per week. So, for example, if week one, my average calories per day was 4,000, then week two, it would be 3,950. So we did a little progressive drop down. At the start, we nudged it down a little bit further. Like I think I started out at like 3,500. So that was a bigger jump in that first week. And then we just trimmed it down by 50 to 75 calories per week after that. I had 1 day per week as I cut my calories, as I waved them down. I had 1 day per week where I would do a 500 calorie bump. So at the end of my calorie wave here, when I was doing an average of 2,400 calories per day, I would have 1 day where I did 2,900 calories. So that 1 day per week, a little calorie bump, get to eat like an extra half of a keto brick or something. And that helps just metabolically. So lost a lot of body fat, actually gained muscle, gained strength, felt really good. That's one thing with carnivore, the extra protein. I realized that my body works really, really well when I have around 200 grams of protein or more. I tend to lay down lean muscle tissue really well. And so that was something I discovered in carnivore land. So that's kind of what I did in the previous 10 weeks. Now I've started to wave back up. I did some maintenance at that 2,400 level. That's something both Danny Vega and Robert Sykes have taught me. Like you go all the way down there, then let your body know this is kind of the reset point. So it's been a couple of weeks at that low point, and then now I'm waving back up. I'm increasing my calories by 100 calories per week. So I went from 2,400 to 2,500, and the next week 2,600. I'm doing 2 calorie bump days of 500 extra calories. So for me, that's Tuesdays and Fridays. Those are the days when if you see me on social, I'm a little extra happy because I get those extra 500 calories. So right now, I believe this week, my average is 2,700 calories per day. And on my 2 bump days, I do 3,200. And I coordinate those with my heavy leg training days. I do, as we'll get to in a second, I do deadlift day on Tuesdays. I do squat day on Fridays. So I like to use those extra calories on those harder workout days. My goal for this wave back up is I'm probably going to do about 16 weeks, increasing by about 100 calories per week. My calories will probably get, north of 3,500 to 4,000 per day. But my goal is to raise my body weight back up into that 230 to 235 range. And anytime you wave through a process like, all right, I cut down, I'm waving back up. The goal is, as you cut down, is to lose body fat and maintain as much muscle mass as possible. As you go back up, it is to put on as much body lean mass as possible, muscle, and minimize fat gain. So each time you go through this process, at the high end, you're a little bit more muscular, you're staying leaner. At the low end, you lean out a lot, you maintain the muscle mass. So it's a continuous cycle of improvement. Now, so when I get back into my body weight's back in the 230 to 235 range, I'm going to look better, stronger, leaner than when I started the whole process in April. All right. So that's the general idea there. And this is something that I'm really into. I'm incorporating this with a lot of my coaching clients. If you guys sign up for 28-day coaching, especially, or even a one-time consult, we can map this out. The 28-day program is better because I can actually hold you accountable each week and we can manipulate the numbers because it doesn't always work out with straight math sometimes. And we have to maintain at a certain zone depending on what your body is doing. So that being said, all that info is on the website. Intermittent fasting. I am doing intermittent fasting. I've got kind of a unique eating window compared to most people that do intermittent fasting. I break my fast at 9 a.m. My eating window is 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., so an 8-hour eating window. I do 2 large meals. I eat at 9 a.m. and I eat at 4 p.m., done by 5 p.m., close my window, and away we go. I do drink black coffee outside of my window, like in the morning. I don't drink it at night. But yeah, that's kind of my general protocol with nutrition. So typical food eaten. If you see me take pictures on Instagram at Million Pound Mission, and you'll see things like steak, beef liver or venison liver, venison roast, pot roast, corned beef, keto bricks. I cook all my meat in olive oil, or I'll do some tallow, like beef or bison tallow sometimes. That's kind of it. That's pretty much my jam. With a pot roast and corned beef, these are two of my favorites, and it wasn't always so. And let me tell you what I do with this. With both of these cuts of meat, I will crock pot them for 8 hours slow. Then the real magic happens where I don't eat them immediately. I refrigerate them. Usually I'll cook it all day in the crock pot, refrigerate overnight. Then when I'm ready to break my fast, I'll slice it at about a half an inch thick. Not really sear it, but you heat it. You get it, the pan heated up pretty hot with olive oil, and you just brown both sides of the meat. So we're talking maybe 60 seconds, 90 seconds max each side. It heats it back up. It kind of browns it, crisps it up, and all that fat gets kind of crispy. And it is so damn good, guys. Like, this is pot roast and corned beef to a new level. All that fat gets just crisped up real nice. Trust me, try it out. And the other great thing is, at least here in Indiana, pot roast and corned beef you can get for less than $4 a pound for decent quality stuff. Not grass-fed. It's hard to find grass-fed like corned beef and things like that, but it's not junk. So, and people ask me about corned beef. It comes with like this little spice pack. I never trust little spice packs. I throw them in the trash because who knows what's actually in there. It's probably something that'll make me have an allergic reaction or disaster pants, one or the other. And I don't want either one of those things. So spice packet, throw away. Just put some Redmond's real salt on that sucker. Macro goals. Like I mentioned earlier with my nutrition, I shoot for 200 grams of protein, and then I keep my fat macros in the 65 to 75% range, and then I hit my calorie goal for the day, and that's how I map things out. That, again, I found that 200 grams of protein. I do better with more protein, and not everybody's like that. A lot of people do really well. Like Robert Sykes is really good on lower protein, really, really high fat, maybe 80%, 85% fat. Just for me, for my body type, the way my body reacts, the way I recover, that's just kind of a magic bullet for me with that 200 gram of protein per day mark. So that is the nutrition breakdown. Let's move into fitness. Now, my fitness background is in strength training. Even when I was heavy, when I was 327 pounds, I was competing in Highland Games. I was strong. I was deadlifting almost 700 pounds. I was throwing trees and weights and doing the strongman stuff. But I was obese and very unhealthy because my nutrition totally sucked. But my fitness has always had a strong strength foundation. Now, as I've aged, like I said, my joints are a little bit beat up. I've got to be mindful of that. I've got to train smart. I've got to warm up really well. I can't get away with training 6 or 7 days a week or doing 2-a-days, things like that. So right now, my strength training is 4 days per week. I use a program called 5-3-1. You can look up the 5-3-1 method or just search 5-3-1 strength training, and you'll see a guy's name by the name of Jim Wendler, Wendler. He's got a series of 5-3-1 books. 5-3-1 Forever is really good. It's got a ton of different protocols in there, but it's a very simple progression-based strength training method that works really well. I can do it 4 days per week. It's a very easy and not easy, but it's a joint-friendly way to get stronger and have progressive overload, always continuously stimulating my muscles. And it's awesome. You can set records and you feel really good. So I do that Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Monday is my vertical pressing day, so overhead pressing. I will do also overhead pulling, aka pull-ups that day. Tuesday is deadlift day. Thursday is horizontal pressing, so bench press and rows and things like that, horizontal push-pull. And then Friday is squat day. Now, with my squats, I tore my pec almost 3 years ago, and I don't have the range of motion to really comfortably put a bar on my back and have good squat technique, just because of they took what's called a bone anchor, and they screwed my pec tendon into my left shoulder through a bone anchor, and it's hard for me to get my arm back there, and it feels kind of crampy, and also it just kind of feels weird. I'm like, I don't want my pec to explode again, so I just do front squats instead of back squats. So that being said, I'm doing front squats instead of back squats, and I usually do a lot of like lunges and things, some accessory stuff on those days. I also use a technique that I call the bonus volume method during the day, where my workout area is about 10 feet away from where I am currently podcasting. It's in my podcast bunker. I've got a full squat rack, 1,000 pounds of weights, dumbbells from 5 pounds to 90 pounds each, barbells, the whole thing, bands. So what I'll do my main strength training, 5-3-1, and then I'll set up a little accessory circuit that I will do kind of just throughout the rest of the day. I walk over there, usually it's some sort of band and dumbbell thing, and I just run through one of the circuits, get a little pump going, and then right back to work. It's going to take me less than 2 minutes, and that's something I really like doing. And a lot of you I know have bands or dumbbells at home, or maybe at work you've got something that you can do, even like having like a band at your desk and just doing some band curls, some upper back extensions, a couple push-ups, and maybe a plank, and then right back to work. Or at home on the weekends, you could set up a little circuit. But I really like this bonus volume where it just kind of throughout the day, I drip fitness into my schedule. So that's something that I do. Wednesday and Saturday, I have a rower. I've got a rowing machine where I will, and I don't do a ton of cardio, but I'll get after it for 10 to 20 minutes on the rower Wednesdays and Saturdays, first thing. I've got an infrared sauna. I kind of count that in my fitness as well. I will do a longer 35 to 45 minute infrared sauna on Wednesdays and Saturdays after I row. So I row and then hop in the sauna, get a nice sweat going. On Mondays and Fridays, I'll do 15 minutes post-workout, just a short kind of recovery-based protocol inside my Sunlighten sauna, which I love. If you guys ever have questions about infrared saunas, or if you want to get more info on Sunlighten sauna, just hit me up on Instagram. I think I've got a discount link for them too that I can send you. So yeah, that's amazing. And then walking, I do 10 to 20 minute walks daily after each of my meals. And that's great for digestion. That's great for like general physical preparedness. It's great for my dog. Millie gets a walk. My kids go out and they bike ride. These are on my Instagram stories all the time. So usually about 10 a.m. Eastern or 5 p.m. Eastern on any given day, you'll get Instagram stories of me walking with my dog and my kids out on their bikes. But yeah, so that's kind of the fitness routine. It's very simple. I have to listen to my joints. I do not want to get hurt. I do not want to tear muscles anymore. I had really bad elbow tendonitis this winter, so I had to correct some things there with the way I use like lifting straps and the way I'm gripping things and the different pressing mechanisms I'm using. We got that knocked out. We got that figured out. So one of the lessons I've learned with my fitness is that, as I approach age 40, I can't just go pedal to the metal with my body and just throw caution to the wind, because that could result in inferior workouts for several weeks or months if we screw things up. So that's kind of my methodology around fitness. Now, okay, one extra disclaimer about the 5-3-1. If you guys get the book, Jim Wendler is fairly vulgar. So just be ready for that. I don't endorse certain language that he uses. We'll just leave it at that, but just be ready for it. It's excellent programming, excellent knowledge, but kind of delivered in a bit of a vulgar package. So there you go. Let's talk supplements. This is, again, a topic that I get a whole lot of questions about. And I've got a lot of, I didn't think I had this much going on supplement-wise, but I've got a decent amount. I get sent a lot of things to try out. And if I like it, I add it to the regimen. That's one of the benefits of being a podcaster. We get to try some stuff out, and that's cool. But yeah, my supplement regimen has really grown quite a bit over the last several months. Let's talk morning time. First thing out of bed, stimulation, a couple days a week on my heaviest, like if I'm recording podcasts, or if I'm getting interviewed, or if I'm creating something where I need to be very verbally sharp, I take a Tao pill. That's a nootropic. It's TAO from theultrahuman.net. I know I have a discount for them. MPM, like Million Pound Mission 10. You should try MPM 20. Maybe it'll get you a 20% discount there. Either one of those should work if you've never ordered before. But it's awesome. It kind of lasts throughout the day. It's not super heavy caffeine. It's not jittery, but it's a nootropic. So that's one of my favorites. I do cold brew coffee on the other days. I do a couple days a week with 0 stimulants in the morning. I will use lion's mane mushroom tea from Four Sigmatic, which is awesome. It's not a nice, just light kind of cognitive stimulant. Throughout the day, I'll take little shots of Redmond's Real Salt. And if you guys have never tried Redmond salt, this is one of my favorite things when I have a guest over, or if I can expose people to the salt. I'm like, just hold out your hand. I put a few dashes of Redmond salt in their palm. I'm like, just eat that and see what you think. And they always think it's like a part of a spice blend. But I'm like, no, that's just salt they dug up in Utah in this cave, and it's amazing. It tastes almost sweet. It's the best thing. It's the best topping. And being low-carb keto carnivore, I need those electrolytes. So I do little shots of Redmond's Real Salt throughout the day. I am not afraid of salt, which is a transition that I had to make after, a lot of people that are heavier. I had blood pressure issues when I was heavier, so I had that salt fear, and now I've kind of gotten over that. So I also do sunlight exposure. I consider that a supplement because I'm really aiming for that vitamin D3, and that is after each meal or during each meal, I'll sit outside on my back deck here. We get good sunlight, and just sit there for 10 to 20 minutes out in the sun, get sunlight exposure on as much skin as possible. Apologies to my neighbors that see me in my Speedo. Just kidding. Maybe I'm kidding. But we do 10 to 20 minutes, sit out and eat, listen to a podcast, and get some sunlight exposure during each meal time. Now, supplements that I take with each meal, I eat twice a day. So meal one, I take potassium, magnesium, calcium. I do some vitamin D3. I do 5,000 IU of vitamin D3. I do 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. I do 5 grams of liquid fish oil with that meal. That's about 120 calories. I use Carlson's Finest fish oil, lemon flavor. That's also what I give my kids, each a teaspoon of that per day, which I think is going to be about 1.5 grams of fish oil there, just to get those omega-3s in. So that's meal number one. With meal number two, I just take the potassium, magnesium, and then again the 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. Pre and during workout, I use another Ultrahuman product called Amino Code. It's branch chain and essential amino acids. Jason Deere has been on the show before. He's somebody I really trust supplement-wise, and he is awesome. So I do 2 scoops of Amino Code, which breaks down to about 3 grams of carbs. Also, so people being carb conscious, that's important to know. The crushed orange flavor is amazing. The dragonberry flavor is amazing. Those are my 2 favorites. So if you check that out, that's ultrahuman.net. I do 5 grams of creatine. Actually, I do 2.5 about an hour before I work out, and then another 2.5 with my Amino Code while I work out. 5 grams creatine. Just get that at bulk supplements, bulksupplements.com, B-U-L-K. My Hoosier accent makes that sound like buck supplements, bulksupplements.com. Then I do 2.5 grams of glutamine, again from bulksupplements.com, during my workout. So I'll have a little mix of Amino Code, creatine, and glutamine mixed up in my workout blend. I drink that as I work out. Post-workout, so I start eating at 9 o'clock. I train from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. I start eating at 9 o'clock, but I like to kind of space out that first meal post-training a little bit, where I'll do 1 scoop of myobolic whey protein from Myozyence. That's a metabolic Mike Mutzel's company, MYOXCIENCE. It's myobolic, MYOBOLIC. It's grass-fed whey protein concentrate. It's super high quality. It's got the immune boosting factors in there because it's the grass-fed whey concentrate. Mike's stuff is amazing. It's more expensive, but wow, the quality and the taste is awesome. I do the chocolate. So I'll do 1 scoop of that. It's going to get me around 20 grams of protein. It's got a decent amount of carbs, and not decent. It's like 4 or 5 grams of carbs. Then I'll do some portion of a keto brick, depending on how many calories that day. It might be a half a keto brick. It might be a quarter of a keto brick. I do those 2 things, and then I'll either cook to the rest of my meal, or if I'm doing a sauna session, I'll do a 15-minute sauna. I'll kind of space things out, but the keto brick and the myobolic whey, those digest really easy. They go down easy. It's just quick, high quality nutrition. I get that in right away as soon as I'm done. and then I'll have my, my fatty meats, my steaks, my burger, things like that. And that's the way the immediate post-workout looks like. Let's talk bedtime. Bedtime, I'll do another 2.5 grams of glutamine. I'll do 2 grams of krill oil pills. So that's another fish oil variation. Again, bulksupplements.com. I will do reishi mushroom tea from foursigmatic.com, foursigmatic.com. Reishi is spelled R-E-I-S-H-I. This is a great just stress relief. It doesn't put you to sleep, it doesn't knock you out, but it sets you up for optimal sleep. I know a lot of people that take this just for the anti-anxiety properties during the day, so it's not going to knock you out and make you fall asleep in wherever you stand. But if you are ramping down into sleepy time, it just aids that. There's a benefit there from the reishi mushroom tea. They make different variations. I do the just plain, which tastes a little earthy, but I'm not super concerned with taste. They have one that's got cacao in it, but it's got 4 or 5 grams of carbs. So if you're not worried about carbs, then you may want to go with that one. It's got cinnamon and cacao. It actually tastes delicious. I've had it. I have partaken of that before as well. Then I rounded up with 30 recovery bits. I had Catherine on the podcast from Energy Bits a couple months back. So I do 30 of the chlorella, the recovery bits. And they're tiny pills, like pea-sized pills. I do 30 of those about an hour before I go to bed. And that helps with the nighttime detox. I feel like the recovery bits do really well with just being able to fill in the gaps with my keto diet, not eating so many greens. That algae really takes that and fills those gaps nicely. And I know if you go to energybits.com, I've got a discount code MPM as in Million Pound Mission, and I think you save 10%, maybe 20%. I think it's 20%. It is 20%. So you can check that out on energybits.com. All right. That is the rundown. We did it. So we went through the nutrition, we went through the fitness, we went through the supplements. If you guys have questions about these things, you can pop inside of our community, the Mission Possible community at millionpoundmission.com. We do weekly group video chats. You can ask questions about any of this stuff. If you're going to dive deeper, we could do a one-on-one strategy session or a 28-day coaching run. Both those options are available on millionpoundmission.com. Otherwise, again, don't feel like you have to copy exactly what I'm doing. I hope this sparked a few ideas, or at least just brought it home. Like, I'm a real guy. I'm experimenting with things just like a lot of you are. And this is just a peek behind the curtain. So other than that, it's time to get out there. Let's get out there and own it. Every meal, every workout, every day. I'll see you on the next episode. Hey, thanks for listening to this episode. I hope you got a ton out of it. If you feel like you need a little bit of a boost, a little bit of an accountability buddy, a little bit of coaching, I've got my 28-day coaching program open and ready to help. You can go to millionpoundmission.com and apply. I take a few people each week. I like to stagger them out as we onboard new people so you get maximum attention. We're touching base every week with video chats. We've got a daily Google Doc that I call the Client Hub that we check in with on a daily basis. We really dig in with your macros, your calories, your fitness. I supply all the resources you need in all those areas, and it's supportive accountability to help you burst through that plateau, to reverse your momentum from negative to positive, and really get after those goals that you've been shooting for so long. It's time to go from goal setting to goal achieving, and the 28-day coaching program is the way to get it done. Head on over to millionpoundmission.com and submit your application today.